So when I first started looking at this area, I was going to do the curved bridge, but with that being a raised up section, well, might as well start. And this is raised too, so might as well give it a reason why it's raised. Make it a tunnel. So there's the start of it. We got the plaster cloth on. We got the tunnel portals in. So let's see if we can make it a little more realistic looking. Okay, I'll be back in a bit. Okay, so the tunnel portholes are a plaster casting, I would say. They got great detail on them, but just the wrong color, I would think. I figure if you're going to paint these gray, why not use those as the paint tray? It's all got to be gray anyway. Like, the only mistake you can make with this is missing something, so. I want a good coat on it because the plaster really soaks up the paint. But in saying that, you don't want too much on it because then the paint will take away from all the details. But you guys watch. There we got. Now we got paint dripping all over the place on this thing. Like I said, the only mistake you can make on one of these is missing something, so. With all this extra paint on there, just start taking it off in one spot and put it on another. Well, at least you guys aren't watching paint dry. Not yet, anyway. Maybe I'll leave the camera on, you guys can watch that too. As you guys can see, I'm just using an old piece of foam just to kind of protect my layout. A little bit of a makeshift workbench, that's all. And you see the paint starting to get a little less paint on the top. We gotta start dabbing at the top a little bit more to get some paint on there. And if you still think you got too much paint, you can always do part of the back of it. No big deal, use up the extra. So whatever you do, don't drop these on the floor because being the plaster casting, they'll only hit the floor once. That is for sure. You can see just at the top here, make sure you take all the extra paint off that. Again, just brush it on the back. Dries out the brush a bit. sure you go over it. There's no white spots anywhere. And you can see all the details still in there. So we'll let this dry and come back to it afterwards. See how they are. Make sure you pick out any brush lint or whatever it's called. See you when this is dry. Okay, so these have been sitting around for a couple hours. I believe they're nice and dry now. So you can see all the detail is still there. So I think the next thing I want to do is try to get some words or dates put on there a bit. And I don't mind where it's kind of not as dark gray. Kind of gives it a little bit of an aged look, I guess. But again, most tunnels and stuff that you see, it's got erected by or the railroad. So see what I can do with those. Be right back. Okay, so a little bit of foam pieces, a little bit of cardboard, and some plaster cloth. And you get yourself a couple tunnel portals. So we'll let all this dry. In the meantime, I think I gotta make some rocks out of those little rock molds that I got. So go see if I can find some plaster. Talk to you in a bit. Okay, so Woodland Scenics does these little rubberized type plastic molds that you can make some rocks with. So I'm going to try it out and we'll get those stuck on that and see how it looks. So putting these rock molds on the side of the plaster cloth, I thought would a better way to do it would just be with white glue. So I took the white glue and I smeared it all over this stuff, the castings, the rock castings, and I stuck them where I wanted them. And I left them for about an hour and I came back and all the glue was actually pooled down at the bottom. It had all come off the plaster rock and there was nothing sticking. So what I found with the plaster casting, white glue, don't use it. What you got to get into is using the same thing that you used to make the rocks. So the brand that I kind of use, DAP, you get it at your local hobby stores, and it's plaster of Paris. So I'll mix them up, stick some pieces on. It's kind of the boring part, so I'll show you guys when I'm done. So I'll show you sticking on one piece here, and I find this stuff sets really quick, so you want to do it pretty fast. So you only want to mix about enough that you're going to use for one piece. So you add a little bit of the DAP, a little bit of water to start, not too much. Mix it all up, and I added way too much water, as you can see. You want a paste-like material. There we go, now we're getting it. Okay, it's mixed up pretty good, pretty good, but yeah, that should work. So one thing you want to do then, and of course it's way on the other side of the layout, is you want to take some water to the area that you're doing, make it wet. And then of course the piece that you're sticking on there, make the back of it wet. And like I said, this stuff sets up really quick. So I'm already being almost too long. Nice and thick. As you can see, it's already starting to set. Stick it on there the best you can. And then the stuff that you got left, My arm's probably in the way for this. And it's rocks, right? They're not smooth by any means. Stick it all together just like so. And I'll probably have to mix just a little bit more because as you can see how fast it's set. So I'll mix a little bit more. And like I said, I'll come back and I'll show you guys when I'm all done. So white on white's probably not going to show up too well. But threw a bunch of rock castings on there just to give it some rough edges. So we'll let this all dry and then we'll start hitting her with paint and see how it really comes out. Okay, so that's putting on a little bit of the green. And we'll just slowly blend in some colors and see what we end up with the finished product. Just a little bit of gray on here for now. Okay, so that's got some gray on it, and then I throw some burnt umber on there. So now I'm just going to highlight the undersides with a bit of black, and the top with a bit of yellow. And I'm not quite sure if you can see how the yellow actually turned out on that. You can see kind of right in this area here how it highlights the top of the rock. So now we get to the black. Okay, so that's kind of got the rock color done. Now we got to add some vegetation. So we got to cover up whatever is green on this. Make it look like life. Okay, so I've scattered some coarse turf, some fine turf, some burnt grass on there. So I'm going to let it all dry tonight. Come back in about 12 hours and then try to brush it all off lightly and see what I got left with. Alright. See you then.